and I got Corey's favorite shirt on.
Oh boy.
That wasn't even planned. I just put it on. It's like, and I just thought it was like, oh hey, coincidence.
All right, I think we're live. It says live. It shows a blank scroll. Wait, it's updating.
Oh, there, it's going. It's going.
Hey, there it is. Perfect. Now, as people are watching me live, I'm totally gonna go share this out on Twitter before we start because people just. Who's ever watching live, hang tight for a second. We'll get this shindig going. It's only gonna be only a couple minutes later than I planned. All right, I think.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Well, at least there's not as many technical difficulties this time.
Yeah, I remember last time. I think that. No, I had Streamlabs open last time and I forgot to close it, and that caused an issue.
All right.
Is that your dog?
It's my roommate. My roommate just got home.
Oh. It's not Link.
My dog? No, my dog.
No, it was Dreamcast guy's dog.
Yeah. It always likes to say hey to him every time he comes home.
Oh yeah, I have a dog.
Whoa, that was
named Link, and he
okay.
He is sleeping right now.
You just flickered green real fast.
I did. Happens.
It's gone now. It was on YouTube. It was only on you, but it's gone now.
Yeah, it happens. That's my crappy webcam. Okay.
I need to get a new webcam.
All right, you know what? If that's what Twitter's going to show, that's what Twitter's going to show. What am I going to do? All right. Let's get this thing started proper, hey?
Yes.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Nintendo Prime Podcast, episode 127. It feels good to be back. We're on a little bit of a different night than usual. Usually we're on Friday nights, but you know what? I think I like this Monday thing. It kind of clears out the weekend, starts the week. It's good. It's kind of like a nice day that I never have any plans on. So we got a full cast with us tonight. We have our typical Eric Moore back over there down at the Mr. Green Bay Packer logo.
Yeah. How's it going, everybody?
We have
good.
A returning guest, one of our Patreon members. Remember, folks, if you go over to patreon.com/Nintendo Prime for $20 a month, you too could be on an episode of the podcast, just like Mr. Sonic Man the Best down there.
What's up?
And then our special guest this week, we have Dreamcast Guy.
Hi. Hello.
Haven't seen you in a coon's age. Too busy.
Yeah, playing all the games, and it's going to get busier, man. I just planned out all the reviews for the next 2 months since the new consoles are about to come out. I don't think I'm going to be able to sleep, but it'll be fun.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be... See, I'm glad that I don't do game reviews. I'm so glad. I do impression videos. I don't have to beat the games to do impression videos. So... All right. Let's just get right into our first topic, and we start every single podcast talking about what have we been playing lately. Let's start with our special guest, Dreamcast Guy. What have you been playing lately?
I'm playing a bunch of Crash Bandicoot 4. You can see it on my system, but I can't talk about that yet. I've also been playing a bunch of Persona 5 Royale. I'm trying to finish Persona 5 Royale. Everybody kind of told me that it was very different from Persona 5. It had a huge amount of added content. They redid the character models. They added in an extra 10,000 lines of dialogue. So all the text bubbly conversations in the middle of the game are fully voiced now. It's a very different experience. I'm super in love with Persona 5 Royale. I think I have 80 hours in it or something just over the last couple weeks. And I'm probably getting close to the end.
Nice. Eric, what have you been playing lately?
Oh, let's see. I'm still on my Super Mario All-Stars Mario 64 kick. I think I'm now up to 72 stars.
There you go. Get some work in.
Yeah. Loving every minute of it.
Nice.
Well,
I wish they would have gave a free roam camera in that
Yeah,
Yeah.
the camera is still
Ugh.
frustrating, but
That's why
I'm
I
used
stopped
to it.
playing it. I stopped playing it.
I'm
I'm
used
like,
to it.
I can't handle it. I'll just play Sunshine.
Oh yeah,
Sonic,
that's the next one on the list.
Sonic Man, what have you been playing?
Been playing 3D All Stars. Just beat Sunshine the other day. First time
Nice.
without cheating. It was on the GameCube. I used the action replay to get through the final boss.
Oh boy.
But this time I was like, I didn't even think it was that hard. It kind of was a little disappointed on how easy it was. Just started a Galaxy, and I think it looks just like a brand new game.
Mhm.
Just started that today. Also been playing Heavy Rain, not a Nintendo game, but
Yep.
been playing that on PC, and it looks
Nice.
really good, even for a 2008 game or 2010, whenever it was.
A while ago.
Yep.
So I've been playing. Let's see. I just dabbled in a little bit of Animal Crossing again today.
Mm.
Haven't played it in 5 months. My town was not happy with me. But you know what? It happens. I just wanted to see what was going on. I haven't played in a while. I didn't play any of the updates. I didn't play when they added swimming or any of that stuff.
Mhm.
So that was kind of interesting revisiting that. Also, somehow I ended up playing World of Warcraft yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Haven't
The new
played
stuff or the classic or modern?
the new, not the classic.
Oh yeah.
I did grow up with the classic back in 2004, 40-man raids. I am kind of glad they brought that back, even if it killed some fan servers that were doing it.
Mhm.
It's really cool, but I don't know that I personally, back when I did it, I had all the time in the world to dedicate to
Mhm.
leveling and raiding. I don't know that I can handle 40-man raids again, even as much as I'm glad that they're back.
That's so I quit recently. I played it for the first 8 months of it being launched, and
Yep.
I enjoyed that first 8 months. But yeah, it took so much time, and I would spend time doing it, and then I realized I like took a step back, and I was like, I'm definitely making less videos because of this stupid game. So
Yeah.
I just straight up, I was like, I'm just gonna cancel my subscription so I can't be tempted to log in.
Yeah. What WoW Classic reminded me of is just how much time I used to spend playing World of Warcraft and how much it does not fit in my life anymore.
Yeah,
And
absolutely not.
like I have a whole new appreciation for the way that WoW is now, where it's more friendlier to casuals and drop it in play for an hour and be done. Like drop in, do a quick little raid and be done. Like I have a whole new appreciation for it now as a parent of 3, a YouTuber. I'm in college full time. Like just being able to relax, and now it's almost like a multiplayer game where you can just pop in for half hour and be done. I kind of like it that way, but the old me is still like, yeah, dude, I miss the hardcore raid days. You start at 7 at night. You're not done till 3 in the morning. You don't stop until that next boss dies. You want server first. You want to.
And
This.
you're drinking
Always,
80 potions. Everybody
Yeah.
always like shows screenshots where they have like 10 bags, and every bag is full of all the rarest potions in the game. And it's like,
Yup,
well, it took me 200 hours, but I have these
Yep.
potions.
On the off days of raiding, everyone spends their time farming materials, and it's just,
Mhm.
dude, it was my life for a while there, and doesn't fit my life anymore. So I purposely avoided playing WoW Classic because I knew I would be sucked in, and I would have lost probably more than 8 months. I probably wouldn't even be a YouTuber anymore, to be honest.
Yeah, you're like, this is who I am now.
This is
I
who
am Balthazar, the warlock.
Probably would have lost my fiance. Probably would have lost everyone in my life. They all would have just left me behind.
That could be your new Twitch channel.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, so I've been dabbling that a bit because the new X Pack comes out next month. So I'll probably dabble in it for a month or two, and then it'll probably fall by the wayside because there's just so much going on with next gen, and I'm so excited. I got all my pre-orders in for that stuff. Also, I've been playing. I kind of set 3D All Stars aside. I enjoy revisiting the games, but I'm not someone who typically replays games that I've beaten multiple times. I kind of just. I guess I don't just play the game and get like that big nostalgia kick. Like I want to keep going. It's like I already know what's gonna happen. I'm good.
Mm.
Like I've done this. You know any like new games there are to play? Why replay something I've already played? Like let's play. How about finish some of my back catalog I haven't played? That might be a good idea. But one game I have been dabbling in that I did play when I was a kid was Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 Complete Edition. Now, I technically was sent a review copy for it. Totally didn't get the content done in time. They know that I'm still going to get something out, but I'm actually really impressed by the game. They translated the consoles very well, and the Switch version is just excellent. I can't help but wish it was Zoo Tycoon instead because I like Zoo Tycoon better.
Damn straight.
That's blasphemy. That's blasphemy.
That's blasphemy. I like Zoo Tycoon better, but this is maybe the best roller coaster tycoon simulator game that I've actually played on a console because they've had other ones come to consoles before and it ended up not being good, but they did a great job with this one. So I'm looking forward to get my video out on that sometime here in this next week. And I think that's it for games I spent any major time on. There's a couple that I just loaded up like Fairy Fencer F, Advent, something. Haven't played that in forever. Some weird Japanese RPG. It's got some hilarious adult humor in it. I remember streaming that back when it first came out like 2 years ago, and everyone's like, whoa. I'm like, yep, get ready for lots of sex jokes, and this game does not hold back. All right, I guess that's all we got for that. Let's get into the second topic. This is kind of the big Nintendo topic that's been going on over the weekend because we had Tokyo Game Show happen.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, there's Monster Hunter Rise and other stuff that happened that was kind of cool. We didn't really learn too much new about those games. But we did learn some information for Age of Calamity, the prequel to Breath of the Wild that a lot of Zelda fans are really, really excited about. And I guess I've already put out a few videos on it. I'm more interested, like, what are your guys' thoughts on just Age of Calamity in general, let alone, like, Impa's now going to be playable. That's, like, a big thing that people are super stoked about. And just, like, the general gist of a Hyrule Warriors game is now going to be canon in Zelda.
Mm-hmm. I haven't made any videos on it, but I have tweeted a little bit. I was very impressed by that presentation. I think that it was a good mix of just lots of heavy information, lots of very long gameplay clips. I understand it now. And I have to say, as somebody who did play a lot of hours of Hyrule Warriors and liked Hyrule Warriors for what it was, this looks like a good mixing. This looks like Breath of the Wild still to me, like graphically and stuff, but also just the animations, the combat style. It looks like they found something right in the middle of the road between Hyrule Warriors 1 and Breath of the Wild 2, because it feels like a nice mix of, like, we've got new stuff, we've got old stuff, it's everything. I'm really into what I've seen now.
Got any thoughts, Sonic Man?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Age of Calamity. Really liking the art style. It reminds me it's pretty much exactly the same as Breath of the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
Storyline would be interesting. I know the game, like you said, the game is canon, but I think they said the gameplay is not canon, right?
So there's the game. Okay, so this game came into creation because Eiji Aonuma literally contacted the team and said, I want you to make a prequel to Breath of the Wild because it makes sense for your gameplay to be the timing of the Great Calamity. So literally everything about this game is canon because Eiji Aonuma wanted it to be. It's actually a funny thing. They talked about it. If you look at the translated versions, I think Game Explain put up of the 2 15, 20-minute segments they did for it. And one of them, it mentions that, like, they thought they were done with Hyrule Warriors. Like, they did the definitive edition, and they're like, we're done. Like, we're not making anymore. We had Fire Emblem Warriors. They were in talks with Nintendo about maybe a different Warriors game. And all of a sudden, Eiji Aonuma just literally called up out of nowhere and said, hey, I want you guys to make a prequel to Breath of the Wild, Warrior style. And they're like, what? Because, like, Nintendo had nothing to do with the original Hyrule Warriors, like, at all. They sent them art assets, and that was it. Nintendo didn't even touch that game. They didn't approve the story. They just took one final look at it at the end and said, yep, looks good. This game, the Nintendo team, the writers were involved in it. Some of the original voice actors were involved in it. Eiji Aonuma was an overseer on it, and they actually had the Breath of the Wild art team working with them on it, which is why it basically looks exactly like Breath of the Wild, like to a T. Yeah. So Nintendo kind of sort of co-developed it, I suppose.
I guess, in a way. Now, Impa, I know she's obviously a lot younger in this game, and she looks a lot taller than in Breath of the Wild. But she also...
you shrink as you age.
Well, I know.
I'm just throwing that out there. I feel like I'm already getting shorter. So,
But Zelda
Right.
never. I guess Zelda doesn't age, and I know Link was basically in a coma for 100 years. So I guess that kind of makes sense.
yeah.
Well,
Um,
wasn't there
did it?
some sort of magical thing? I don't remember. It's been 3 years since I beat the game, but wasn't Zelda like in some sort of crystal stasis? Basically, she like was frozen fighting Ganon, or was she actively fighting Ganon for 100 years?
So what? So we don't know. That's the thing. We don't know the exact details. So hopefully we find that out in this game. But
Mhm.
she went to defend Link, and then she basically puts up her hand, and the Triforce glows. And it turns out she has the full power of the Triforce at that time, or something. She didn't even know it. It like awakened, and she uses that power to hold him at bay. Now we don't know if they're fighting or if she's just because we don't actually see them fighting in Breath of the Wild. You get there and he's just kind of trapped in a room, and you fight him in that room until he
Mhm.
busts out at the end. So I have a feeling that like for 100 years she's just like standing there holding up her hand, trying to hold a shield over him, and she ends up not aging because of the Triforce or something. And it's
Yeah,
interesting too.
that seems real.
Yeah, like I don't know, weird things happen with the Triforce. So who really knows? Link slept in
Time
a pool
travel.
of water and didn't age. So
He
Right.
didn't drown either.
and
Yeah.
like Impa aged, but then Impa's sister didn't age because Impa's sister was messing with like if you read her books in her house, she was like messing with stuff on trying to like live forever, and she says she messed it up and got younger or something. It was weird.
Oh.
Like she de-aged. It was
Oops.
Yeah.
She's like, oh no, I chugged Fountain of Youth Red Bull.
What
Hate
happened
when
to
that happens.
Imagine if she de-aged so much that she, like, before she was born, then what would happen?
Right. Unmake herself.
right.
So she just fizzle out or become a fetus or something.
I mean, I probably at
Regens
the
her
end-
mom.
Well, I think your bones are squishy when you're first born, so she probably just gets to the point where she has squishy bones and she just falls over. We're
Yeah.
really getting into the science of this random BS Nintendo
It
thing.
would be interesting if Impa's sister is playable in this game and is older than in Breath of the Wild. That's just going to be like, what? We don't even recognize her at that point.
I think we're
Eric.
gonna play the king. Play the king.
Oh, I hope so. I hope King Roan's playable. Eric,
That would be awesome.
what are your thoughts on this?
I've enjoyed Warrior games. I didn't play much of the original Hyrule Warriors. I did touch it a little bit. And I thought it was okay. Hopefully they do a little bit better job this time, at least from the gameplay that I did play. It just felt a little bit different than normal Warrior games, but
Well, it's
no, I know. But no, I'm excited for it. It's going to be interesting to see the actual like story behind it. I've always enjoyed, like I said, I've enjoyed the other Warriors games, so this will be really cool to see, and hopefully it comes together well.
Yeah, this is one of the first times I've seen Zelda fans legit come out and be like, "Hey, I didn't buy the first Hyrule Warriors because who cares? Like, it's not canon, and I don't like Warriors games. But I have to buy this one because it has canon story." I've never heard like any Zelda fan ever say I have to buy a Zelda game because of story. It's crazy how much like Breath of the Wild made people care about what happened 100 years ago. It's referenced so much in the game, and we just don't really know. We just see little snippets. Oh, here's a cute little memory. Like, okay, but what? How? Like, how did Link become a champion? How did these guys become champions? Why are they champions? Okay, yeah, they died to the Calamity things, but like they seem so powerful. So how the heck did they die to these things that Link dispenses? Like they're nothing.
Yeah, right.
Like were they more powerful back then, and then did they just lose some of their power over time? Like, because they're connected to Ganon, so like maybe Zelda doing her Triforce thing and weaken them or something. Like, what is going on? Why do we have a baby guardian? Like, why can everybody use Sheikah Slate abilities? Like,
They had to capitalize on the Baby Yoda. I mean, come on,
Right.
you gotta throw the baby in there.
I honestly think that it seems, if I had to guess, that I think they realized that they could turn Breath of the Wild into a trilogy. And I feel like they realized that as soon as they finished the first game and saw the amount of people speculating and writing hour-long theory videos. I think they realized, okay, we already have plans for a sequel. Let's tap somebody to do a prequel. It was like, at this point, it's a free $1 billion. Like, all right, the money's printing itself. We don't even have to make it ourselves. We don't even have to make it in-house. We can just get the Hyrule Warrior guys to do that magic again. Give them a script and tell them to film it.
Yeah, because the big thing with what Eiji Numa put out there about why he the Zelda series has had epic battles in its history, but it's never shown it. You've never been able to participate in it. And the way the Zelda games work doesn't fit with like a big giant battle. Like, I still remember all the hype over the scene that never happened when Twilight Princess was revealed back in 2014 and shocked the whole world because we just got the Wind Waker last holiday. And all of a sudden, boom, here's Twilight Princess like 6 months later. Like, what? And they had this giant battle scene with all these bokoblins out in the middle of Hyrule Field that looked like there was going to be this big epic battle. And then it never made it into the game. Because it just doesn't fit with Zelda gameplay to have Link out there fighting a whole bunch of people. Even though I think it would be really cool, because I think doing it in a different way than Hyrule Warriors does would be interesting. Where in Hyrule Warriors, you're just this OP, mopping all these enemies up like they're nothing.
Yeah.
When you actually play Breath of the Wild, you can't do that. You will die if you take on that many enemies at once. So
More realistic.
But he specifically said he wanted the Warriors team just because he felt their style represents an epic battle better. I don't know. I think it's just the first Hyrule Warriors game sold okay. And as you said, like, Breath of the Wild was printing money. They realized all these people want to know what happened 100 years ago. We're not going to tell the story, but you know what? We have a story for it. Let's get someone else to like build a game around what happened 100 years ago, like fill in the gaps. And people are going to buy it. And it's interesting because this is one of the first like canon Zelda games. We already know how it ends.
Well, sort of.
Kind of. Like, we don't, there's some exact details we want to know, but like, we know that Link loses and almost dies. We know all 4 champions die. We know that Zelda is stuck doing whatever the heck she's doing to hold him back. And we know Hyrule's destroyed. So like, the good guys kind of sort of lose.
Yeah.
And we know this, and we know that there's going to be death, and we don't get death in Zelda games really. Like, even in Ocarina of Time, like, we fast forwarded, well, everyone died. We didn't see them die. Like, so.
The zombie people.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the Redeads. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. God, I'll never get over them jumping on your back.
I hate that. I hate them.
Ocarina.
Yeah.
It felt like they were just humping the crap out of you. Like, what are you doing? It doesn't look like you're eating me. It's like you jumped on my back and just started.
They get out of stripper pole. Like, ooh.
Right? That's what it felt like. I'm like, what are you doing? Even as a kid, I'm like, dude, this is not like. What's this game rated again? Why do I have a dead body humping me? All right.
Well, they did change at least with, Ocarina of Time, I believe this did too. So Ocarina of Time on 3DS, and then Wind Waker HD on Wii U, or actually rated E10 and up, but the original versions didn't. But also E10 and up didn't exist back then. So
yeah. Just like all the PG movies, if you look at a lot of the gory, crazy action movies in the 80s, a lot of them are PG because PG-13 didn't exist yet. So it's like, it's like, oh, here's a Pixar movie, Cars, and then here's also RoboCop. It was just like, whoa.
Well, it's like that, I know, it'd be like in the original Finding Nemo when Dory actually bleeds blood. But that was G. But the second one, the sequel was PG, but there was no blood in it.
Oh yeah.
Who knows?
So what someone in the chat mentioned that they did say in the stream the reason that the Sheikah Slate abilities are used by people are because they can channel it remotely through the baby guardian apparently. So that's the official explanation why other people can use the Sheikah Slate abilities even if they don't have the Sheikah Slate. Just for people that are worried about canon, like, hey, I thought you couldn't use those abilities without the slate. Well, there's this new character, and this new character gives you the ability.
In the TGS footage that we saw, I remember there was like the short cutscene where a Sheikah Slate is flying through the air, and then I think Link catches it.
Yeah. And it comes the baby thing comes alive while it's in the air. What's interesting is we have this baby guardian that's so special. What the hell happens to this thing? It's not there in Breath of the Wild, so what the hell happened to it?
It's all
Hey,
fine.
yeah.
Hey, maybe
mean,
maybe it's coming
100
back.
years.
Maybe it's coming back in the sequel. Maybe it got
Yeah,
buried
so it's going to
somewhere.
be like how we had Devil May Cry 1 that's pretty based and normal. Devil May Cry 2 is kind of weird. Then Devil May Cry 3 is a prequel and introduces tons of new stuff. And when we get a Devil May Cry 4, it's just all the magic from Devil May Cry 3, but now in the future, they're
Yeah.
going to do that. Of like, here's the prequel. All right, now we have all the magic. All right, now here's the sequel.
Yeah.
Like Metal Gear Solid 3 is a prequel to the original Metal Gear.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the original Metal Gear, I should
Crazy.
say. Peace Walker.
Sequel, the prequel.
Yeah.
Right.
3, but before 2.
That's what the title should be. You want to
Yeah.
know something crazy here with Breath of the Wild? Don't remember who this YouTuber was, but it was like maybe a year ago now. He was predicting that we would get a trilogy. He didn't say it'd be like Hyrule Warriors, but
Mhm.
he was predicting that we might actually get a.
Well, that
trilogy.
was a meme. That was a meme right
Okay.
after Breath of the Wild came out, and it really was getting talked about. Someone had a it was like the meme said, like, time traveler appears and says, "Hey, how many of the Hyrule? How much of the Breath of the Wild trilogy is out?" And the guy went, "What trilogy?" Yeah. So
I'm
All right.
also hearing. Okay.
No, go on.
Okay, I was going to say one more thing. I also heard that there's something special with Link's right arm or left arm. I don't remember what, but I haven't really noticed anything special about that. Have you?
I haven't watched. I'm purposely avoiding all the theory videos and stuff, even though I want to support my like content creator friends. I'll like leave a like or something, but I'm trying not to watch them because people have been so right, which kind of becomes a problem. People are able to freeze frame, like right here, you see that Link's bending over. He's probably sneezing, which is actually an acronym that means suck every nose. And it's like, God damn, you figured the whole game out, you know? So I don't want
Right.
to look at any of those.
Yeah, I feel like there is something that's probably going to happen in this game based on what they said with Link's arm. That's going to be kind of a reference into the next game when he gets whatever the hell happens to his arm. If people care about the sequel to Breath of the Wild, an exciting part is there's going to be something that happens in here because it's a canon game that's going to get referenced and happen in the actual sequel because this story is written by the Zelda team. So
Are we going to get Breath of the Wild 2 and then end up Link has a prosthetic like in MGS5?
I
And then find out it's not even the real Link.
I have a feeling that there's going to be a bunch of magic we don't have in Breath of the Wild. I bet it's going to turn out that he has some sort of extra abilities, and those didn't get awakened during the course of the original game. And in Breath of the Wild 2, it's going to be like Metroid of like, yay, I got my powers back.
And they're going to have cars and stuff. They have motorcycles.
There's a motorcycle, yeah. You know what? I want to see the Link jet, all right? Give me the jet of time.
Oh, the jet.
There you go.
Like from
There you go.
Chrono Trigger, the time travel jet from Chrono Trigger, the Epoch.
Nice.
Plane, trains, and automobiles.
Yeah, exactly. And then it becomes Roller Coaster Tycoon 4.
Oh,
Yes. There it is.
Boom, full circle.
There it
Hey,
is.
and then you can trap some of the sand walruses, and you got Zoo Tycoon.
People keep
Oh.
vomiting. People keep vomiting. Link, solve the problem. And he's like shoveling puke. Like this game did not go how I thought it was going to go.
Time to go clean the bathrooms, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right.
Just don't trap people in holes.
All right.
Is that going to be a mini game? No, I'm just kidding.
All right. On to the next topic here. We got you guys are funny. This is great. So I guess we're gonna talk about 2021 Switch for a brief moment here. We don't know a lot of the games coming next year. There's some that we do. Shin Megami Tensei 5 is one, as an example. But I'm kind of curious, like, what are we excited for in 2021 for Switch? A year that, like, we're coming off of 2020 where we barely knew anything all year, and we know even less about next year. So, like, what is a game that we, like, think is going to come next year that you actually are looking forward to in 2021? Because remember, we're in the first full year of the new consoles, and there's going to be so much hype around that. Nintendo isn't going to want to be forgotten. There's going to be something going on. So, what are we hoping to get?
Breath of the Wild 2.
I think, yeah, Breath of the Wild 2 is the only game I can really bet on. It's so difficult for me to imagine. Like, I still think that Metroid Prime 4 is probably long away. Even now, I think it's a long, long away. Maybe Bayonetta 3. I mean, that's got to come out someday, eventually, right? You know, it's hard to bet on anything other than Breath of the Wild. I do think that I'm excited for people who are already speculating about a Zelda collection. I would be very, very excited for some sort of Zelda collection. If it's like, I assume it'll probably be one from each console like they did with this one. And I bet it'll probably be like, Ocarina of Time, probably, I would like Skyward Sword, but probably not. And then Twilight Princess HD or something.
And all that.
Wind Waker in there somehow.
See, what's weird about a possible Zelda collection is like they already HD'd Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, and it's on Wii U.
Very well, in fact. Those are amazing fucking remakes. They're
so
great.
like if they do a collection and they don't include one of those two games, like we're just not gonna get that game, or are they gonna release it at $60 on its own?
I think it's gonna be 3. I do think it's gonna be the 2 they've already remastered, and then just put like out of pity, just throw in Ocarina of Time. I really want them to do Skyward Sword, but Skyward Sword would take so much work. I feel like they'd probably do that standalone. I do think that there's a chance we see Skyward Sword again, but I think it'd be a standalone $60 full priced game.
Yeah, like the big thing with Skyward Sword is mostly the controls. Like you could do the original controls technically with the separated Joy-Cons, but they have to make it playable in handheld, so that they would have to do what people have done with emulation with it and map things and try to figure out how to change the sword movements to the right joystick or something, and
Without changing the game too much.
yeah,
Yeah.
It'll be like dousing's kind of the big thing. It's like, okay, like how are you gonna pull that one off without having motion controls?
It's like even with Super Mario Galaxy on the Switch, like it's a great game, but when I was playing it earlier, I was like, I don't know why I was caught off guard. I should have expected this. It's like, oh, I can't control the menus with the D-pad or the analog stick, which was awkward.
It feels weird, yeah.
Yeah,
It works,
with
but
the
yeah,
Pro
it feels weird to suddenly be like, oh, I'm sorta still have my Wiimote, but I sorta don't.
I was playing with a Pro controller.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The
Why?
camera is really weird.
I've been playing it, and I keep just using the touchscreen. I keep playing it handheld because it's so much easier to just tap the menus. But even that feels weird when it's like, okay, I have to let go of the controller now and poke save, and then go back to holding the controller.
You need 3 hands.
Exactly. I just do it with my nose. I gotta stop being a pussy.
Yeah. Use your tongue.
Just
headbutt it.
Just doing it all wrong. Doing it all wrong. That's your problem.
Drop kick it.
Drop kick it. So
I guess you could have a second player.
So I think, obviously Breath of the Wild 2 is an obvious one to go to. It's Zelda's 35th anniversary. It's a game that's been announced and actually shown. And it's using like the same engine. So it's easy to imagine that kind of like Majora's Mask, the turnaround time on that game would be pretty quick. And it could easily be ready to go. And it's considering Breath of the Wild is my favorite game of all time, this would obviously be something for me to be hyped for, but I don't want to go with the flow. Then we'll just talk Zelda, and I love talking Zelda. So I feel like Nintendo's going to have something big next year besides Zelda, and I do actually think the Metroid Prime trilogy has a chance to drop next year because it's Metroid's 35th anniversary as well. People don't talk about it. It's always hidden.
Oh, yeah.
Zelda, but the trilogy would be a great drop to throw in next year, even if Metroid Prime 4 doesn't come, which I don't really think Metroid Prime 4 is coming next year. Who knows? Maybe we'll see a trailer for it potentially. But I don't think we're actually going to
another logo.
Another logo. We updated the logo, and now it has Samus's head.
Well, I was going to say it has a subheader. It's like Metroid Prime 4, the corruptionistist.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Wait. How many years? It's only been, 2 years now since we've seen the original logo?
So 2017, so it's been 3.
3 years? Okay.
Oh, okay. So maybe it is coming out next year. Maybe we all thought it was the logo, but it was actually the number of years it was going to be before it actually came out.
When is it that they restarted development?
Late 2018.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that thing's in the oven.
I remember seeing that video. Like, was it canceled? And I really didn't want to watch the video. I was excited at the same time, but I was nervous. And when I started watching the video, it had I forget his name, the producer of most of the first party Nintendo games. He was saying like, we're having our development has been challenged, but we thank you for playing Nintendo games nonetheless. and I was watching, and there's like they didn't get to the point until like 2 or 3 minutes later. It's like,
Yeah, I
just
don't think I
fast-forward
ever
it.
even watched it. I think I saw somebody just read a transcription of the ending of it where they were like, "We've decided to restart the development." And I was like, "Okay, well,
Yeah.
Before
yeah.
that, they would say like, unfortunately, it's like, oh, they're gonna cancel it.
Yeah.
yeah,
The issue, the only thing that scares me about the Metroid Prime 4 thing, and next year or whatever year, 2030 at this point,
Yep.
is Retro Studios has not successfully brought a project from beginning to even reveal in 6 or 7 years. It has like they really talking on Tropical Freeze, God, 2014, and
Mhm.
that game was done before that, so they've had rumored like 2-3 projects get really deep in and then just nope, didn't come together. Got to can that one. So like they're hiring all these really high quality talent, and I fully believe we're gonna get something out of all this
Mhm.
talent they're hiring someday because Nintendo's already sunk God knows how many millions of dollars into development of other projects at Retro Studios that never panned out. But
Right.
and it's Metroid. It's got an IP you can't really screw around with it, or Metroid might be done because the last full Metroid game that wasn't a remake didn't exactly go over that well. So if they bomb twice in a row, that might be it.
yeah." I mean,
Other M just did not click with people.
people forget this. Like we remember it because we're more hardcore Nintendo gamers. But the sales of Metroid games have always been surprisingly low for the amount of conversation around them. They're definitely, I mean this not in a harmful way, but they're always been like the C tier project by Nintendo of like, all right, like Mario pays the bills. We can put that thing on cell phones and it still makes money. There's Zelda. Zelda's a staple. We could do spin-offs and even the spin-offs sell. And then Metroid's always been the one that's like, people like it. We're going to make our money back, but like it has to be quality or it just doesn't move.
Yeah, and we're in an era now where like making a Metroid Prime game is more expensive than it's ever been.
Mhm.
And so like having to commit that kind of money, they're going to need even better sales than they typically would get. And yes, everything on Switch seems to be getting more sales than ever before for Nintendo. But if you release it too late in the lifespan, it might not get those sales, and then it does become a game for the next system, and you can't really launch. Does Metroid feel like a launch game for another platform? I personally, I don't think the IP is big enough to be a launch game, no matter how excited hardcore Nintendo fans get.
They'd be taking a big risk.
That'd be a huge
Say,
risk.
Right.
not saying it can't be done properly, but I don't know.
Like
I don't
Zelda
think
was a
we're-
pretty safe bet to launch on a new platform.
or
They already
Mario.
did it before when they delayed Twilight Princess to launch Wii. Like Zelda sells 5, 6, 7 million every time. You're going to be fine with that. And yeah, they didn't know Breath of the Wild was going to get as big as it did, but I really worry about this project just because I don't know what's happened at Retro. I know they're a Western studio, so there's a zillion turnover there all the time. But something happened where they just can't get projects to completion. So I really worry that this project might be just an infinite development hell and never be canceled. It'll be like Pikmin 4, where like Miyamoto told us, "Oh yeah, it's almost done," but that was 5 years ago.
They just canceled the game and then
Like
just refused to
it's
tell
not
us.
officially canceled. It's technically you can even still find it on the Nintendo website as a TBA game. Pikmin 4 is a game that exists somewhere at Nintendo that they're just not releasing for some reason, or they're not finishing it, or so, but they won't cancel it. Probably on the off chance Pikmin 3 Deluxe sells really well, maybe then they'll finish it. But
Right.
Just
We'll
wait for
hand
the
that
right
to
time.
Retro.
yeah. So I do really worry about the game, but for 2021, like realistically, something's coming from Mario. I don't know what. There's going to be a new Mario something. It's been
3D
how
World,
many? You know,
no.
remember we got Odyssey back in 2017,
Odyssey 2.
and they never made DLC for that game.
Mhm.
They could have easily, but they didn't. It's one of like the weird games they didn't make DLC for, even though it sold 18 million.
They could have done Season Pass.
Yeah, I mean they could have sold. I mean they could have got really bad and EA did and sold us all the costumes in the game too for $1 a piece.
Well,
Thank God they didn't
a
do
lot
that.
of I remember a lot of people speculating when Odyssey crossed 10 million pretty quick. A lot of people were speculating that they would just add extra like worlds of like,
Yeah.
all right, like you guys just like collecting the stars, just bam, look, here's more stuff. Like we're just gonna, all right, here's a throwback world. Here's Princess Peach Land. Okay, cool. Like, here's just Mario 64 again inside of the Odyssey engine.
But they
But they
did.
didn't. They did none of that.
technically it did have 64 after you beat
Well,
the
yeah,
game.
the castle, yeah. But people
Yeah.
thought that could be like a precursor to future DLC, revisiting other games, maybe even like a Delfino Island version. Like,
Well,
there
yeah.
was a whole bunch of stuff.
What wasn't there actually a picture you could even jump in like Mario 64 on one of the planets? I seem to remember.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
something
was one of the ways to like transport to a different part of the level and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like we're getting something from Mario, if it's not an Odyssey 2 or something like that. Then I'm gonna throw this out there as kind of a, you know what, we haven't had one of this in a while either. What about a Mario Kart 9?
Right. I
Yeah.
don't think they'll call it that. I think 9 is one of those numbers people don't like to use for some reason.
Mario
I
Kart
do
X.
think I do think they'll call it X. I honestly think they'll call
Well,
it
whatever
Mario
they
Kart
call
X.
it. Like, I realize that they have like the Mario Kart Live Tour thing, like whatever. Like, that's cool. That's a great in-home app toy thing, but it's not a new Mario Kart game. It's not going to sell 20+ million. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it will, but I just don't see that as a Toys to Life thing being something that's going to do that. But I do think, you know, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe clearly, you know, what a banger seller for Nintendo. You know, people, the number one excuse is, why would they release 9 when 8 is still selling so well? Well, because
Yeah,
eight's only adding a couple million a year. You could release 9 and get 20 million in 2 years. Why would you not do that before the end of the Switch? And hey, guess what? You just proved that you could just port it to the next platform till the next Mario Kart's ready too.
Right. Yep, exactly. Mario Kart X Deluxe will sell just as much as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe did.
Yeah, and in a shorter time span because it's brand new. And then they'll have DLC, and then they'll use that as a deluxe version to launch on the new platform, and then they'll just repeat the cycle. Because why wouldn't they? They could basically, Nintendo created a cycle with Mario Kart where they could double dip it on every console moving forward if they decide to go that route.
Man, I still remember, like, one of my favorite like random memories is the Nintendo gave me Mario Kart 8 like a month early. On Wii U or on Switch. So I'm playing it on Switch and I'm liking it, I'm enjoying it. And pretty much the only other people that had it were Nintendo channels. And for some reason, my dumbass. And so the Game Explain guys were online all the time. You could go on there and race them, and they were just trying to obviously record footage for their video because it was way before embargo. And they would just smoke you again and again. It'd just be like, Andre Explain. And I'm like, oh, it's the Game Explain guy. And they would just like completely lap me. And I think I still have some footage saved, just raw footage of me just getting absolutely smoked by all of them. It'd be like
Nice.
nine people in a race. It's them all way up at the front and everybody else competing for the last 4 slots. It was awful.
Yeah, they're really good at those games. Oh my god, I've
It's their
gotten
lives.
I've gotten a few matches with them in Splatoon, and it's like, I know I'm not that great at Splatoon, but I'm all right. You go up against like the Nintendo YouTubers that are like, this is our job, this is our lifestyle. Like, when we stream this, we are pros. We might not be like ones you're gonna see in tournaments, but we could be if we wanted to be.
Right, yeah.
They just wreck you, and like they could like not have played the game for a year. It's like riding a bike for them, no problem.
Yeah. They don't get their reaction time isn't messed up since I don't play Call of Duty.
Yeah, that's true. Man, there's so many different shooters out there that can mess up your stuff too. Oh man. All right, let's quickly get into this last topic here. We got about 15 minutes or so to go here. So we're gonna be talking a little bit about the next gen systems here. And then how it potentially affects Switch. But first, before we get into, you know, how much it might or might not impact Switch, what are you guys' thoughts on like the next gen systems and like which way are you leaning? PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, both? You know,
I'm
reasons?
getting both.
Yeah,
I have both pre-ordered.
Yep. Is there one that you're kind of leaning towards preference wise?
I think I'm more curious. I think I'm going to spend more time gaming the first couple months on the on the PS5. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, so I'm going to be putting a lot of times into Miles Morales. I actually am a huge Demon Souls fan too, so both those launch games really have my attention. But I think I'm more curious about the hardware of the Series X. It just, like, that console just seems so strong. I'm kind of curious to see what it looks like 6 months after launch, once people really start developing games for it. Like, I think a lot of the third-party stuff that's coming out for this first like launch window, let's face it, it's Xbox One X things that are upgraded to Series X. You know, they're not going to have the full range of graphics and stuff. So I'm not the biggest graphics guy, but I feel like we're getting so close to photorealism. Like seeing us approach it now, kind of doing what I feel like is the final push of like, all right, can we get 100 frames a second on games? Can we get 4K on every TV? You know, I feel like we're very close to getting that precipice.
Eric, you got any thoughts?
I've always been kind of an Xbox guy, so I mean, nothing against PlayStation at all, but I mean, I had the original Xbox 360. That's where it kind of ended, but I've always been kind of more of an Xbox guy. So I guess if I did go next gen, it'd probably be Xbox.
Okay. One reason, Eric, I can tell you about going next gen that you might appreciate is the Game Pass, man. It's such a great deal because I know you don't have like a super big gaming PC over there. Game Pass is like it's kind of like getting Xbox Live for the year, except you get all of the games day one. You get all the EA games, so you like Madden, you'll get that day one, because they added EA access into it now, and without charging more. By the way, Microsoft's making huge losses on Game Pass. They like Phil Spencer came straight out and said we don't make money on Game Pass at all. But I think the idea is there must be a threshold of users where it becomes profitable for them. I don't know what that threshold is. Only they know because they have the math and the numbers behind it. But, I mean, if they can hit that threshold and keep it as cheap as it is, that's insane because it's already not that expensive. Oh, and Eric, another thing you might like is that the Xbox Series X is the X version, the one that you can put discs in, is fully backwards compatible all the way back to the OG Xbox. That means your NFL 2K5 can be playable on next gen.
Aw, yeah.
Just throwing that out there, Eric, for you. A whole other reason for you.
Holy crap.
That's the main reason I'm going to get a Series X.
Yeah.
Is the backwards compatibility.
Yep. Yeah, that's a really big thing for people that especially
even more so than the new games.
Yeah, well, especially since like Xbox doesn't have a lot of new games coming out after Halo got delayed. It's kind of like we don't really have a whole lot new. Like they're really pushing the Gears update to 120 FPS and stuff. Like, and that's cool. But the reason to buy Xbox at launch isn't really about new games. It's about old games being brute forced updated to have better frame rates, as we found out today with all of the press that have it showing, hey, look, man, like all these old Xbox One games, like, dude, they run so much better. Oh my gosh, you want to go back and play GTA 4 from the Xbox 360? Dude, that thing chugged on the Xbox One X. This thing, it's perfect 60. We can't even get a frame to drop on it. It's like, that's really cool that they're using it like a PC does. Like, if you upgrade your PC when you're playing PC games, it brute force. Suddenly, you put a better graphics card in, even if it's got crappy drivers, you get better frame rates. Even if you don't, maybe the ray tracing doesn't work. Maybe that's broken. That'll get patched later, but you'll still get better frame rates. Maybe better resolution. So it's really interesting that's really the reason to get it at launch is just, hey, look, Game Pass is a great deal. And, yeah, it has EA games. So if you play a lot of third-party EA games, you get them all on Game Pass on Series X. Series X, they theoretically should look better than the PlayStation 5, but that's not gonna play out for a little while. This, if you're thinking, oh, I want Madden 21 on next gen, it's like it's gonna look the same on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. There's no taking advantage of much of the hardware for games that were developed primarily on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. But whatever. The thing is, I personally, I'm getting both. And the S, although I might be giving away the S, people watching. So we'll see. I'm gonna take a look at it, and then that console I'll probably end up giving away because I don't really need to have both. I do think that it's an interesting thing because PlayStation gets you at launch if you really like Demon Souls. Like that's the big reason to get it because you can play Miles Morales on PlayStation 4. So the real big reason to get it is, yeah, you want that Demon Souls remastered or remake or whatever they're calling it, because it looks phenomenal. It's one of the only games shown so far that feels like that's a next gen experience. That's something that I couldn't get on PlayStation 4. You were not getting something that looked like that on PlayStation 4. It just wasn't happening. And then people started throwing a fit over, oh, it's only a 1440p though, and it made me realize because there's all this talk around next gen around 4K. I think true next gen games won't be 4K in the AAA space. I think
You think?
they're all going to be 1440p because they're going to sacrifice that the power it takes to put like just speaking as a like from the PC perspective. You have a 2080 Ti. Like forget the 3000 series that just came out cuz literally nobody owns it cuz they didn't make enough of them. You have a 2080 Ti. It was a $1,500 card. It was pushing teraflops that were around what is happening in the Series X. You could barely get any 4K games to run at even 30 FPS, let alone 60. And that's with a 2080 Ti. So the performance level in these systems isn't actually high enough to do 4K 60 in big, traditional, want to push visual games. So personally, I feel like what we're seeing with Demon's Souls, as much as I know that they were being lambasted because it's all 4K, but this game's not native 4K. It's because a lot of these AAA games that are going to go for the highest visual fidelity, they're not going to be 4K. Like, and I think that's one thing Microsoft's actually running into right now with Halo Infinite is it's 4K 60 FPS, but you can't get the highest visual fidelity at 4K because you have to use that GPU power to push that native resolution. And it's one thing, this is the one advantage that the NVIDIA hardware has over the Radeon hardware they're using, the AMD hardware they're using, is they don't have DLSS 2.0. They don't have the ability for this really great upscaling with RTX tensor cores. They have to put native 4K out if it's going to be 4K, or they have to do what they did this current gen, which is like checkerboard rendering and just basically normal upscaling techniques that don't really compete with native. So personally, I don't think 4K matters. I have a 4K TV, 120 hertz, just sitting here, this giant 65-inch, waiting to 4K game. Me knowing that these games are going to be 1440p, they're not going to be 4K. Now, you're going to see a lot of old games be at 4K. Like, you'll see PlayStation 4 games come over, and when they remaster them and repackage them to you for $70, they're going to be 4K. But that's because they're not really going to visually enhance them that much. Like, I'm really interested to see what the enhancements are with, say, the Spider-Man game that they're remastering that they won't let you upgrade for free. You have to buy the special edition to get it. Like, I'm very curious what are the upgrades besides faster load times and it's now in 4K at a higher frame rate. Because, like, those are all advantages that Xbox is giving to you for free with any game. Like, you can just stick the disc in from Xbox One, and if it's unlocked, we'll give you higher frame rate. We'll give you faster load times. We'll give you, a better resolution without the developers having to do anything. So I'm really curious if Sony is just packaging that, or if there actually is going to be, maybe they really did redo the visuals and there's more effects and more crazy things going on, like in Miles Morales, as an example. It looks, Miles Morales, if you watch the footage, because they're showing all footage for PlayStation 5, it does look better than Spider-Man on PlayStation 4. So I'm curious. It's tough. Personally, as much as I've been talking up Xbox, like I'm actually really excited for PlayStation 5 because I honestly barely touched the PlayStation 4 library.
Oh, really? Wow.
So I have a plethora of games I can get dirt cheap right now and play it on the PlayStation 5. Granted, it doesn't feel like there's going to be any advantage to doing it. Why not just buy a PlayStation 4? Well, because with the PlayStation 5, I get my Demon's Souls, and then I can play all future games as well. So that's kind of my logic behind why I'm actually kind of excited for it, because it is backwards compatible with most, if not all, of the PlayStation 4 library. I know they didn't test every single game, so that they had that caveat. It'll
like
try
90
to run.
or 99%.
Yeah. They basically just said we tested a lot, but like it's impossible for us to realistically test it all before launch. They said every single game will attempt to run. Like there won't be a disc you put in and it'll be like, nope, can't run. It'll try to run the game. And they haven't ran into a game that refuses to run, so they're presuming it will.
I know with even with the Wii and the Wii U, I've heard, I can't find any official Nintendo statements anymore, but I remember reading they were like most GameCube games will run on the Wii, or most Wii games will run on the Wii U. I never had a single one where it refused to run.
Well, so the Wii U there wasn't going to be a game that wouldn't run because they literally put a Wii inside the Wii U. Literally, the entire chipset of Wii was just included in the Wii U. and that's
Oh, it had
why
the
you
OS
had to.
too.
That's why you had to boot. Basically, there was like 2 computers in the Wii U. That's why you had to reboot it into the Wii mode, because you were basically loading a Nintendo Wii, and then you would close it down and then load the Wii U. It was a really dumb implementation that they never needed to do, but they did it because they just didn't want to put in the work to make Wii U properly. Because Wii U's on the same architecture. There's no reason it couldn't have been more backwards compatible, but they would have had to do things like figure out why certain games aren't running perfectly. And they just didn't want to do that. See, Xbox had so much to try to give PlayStation a break. Xbox has basically been using the same architecture from day one. They've been using PC architecture from the very first Xbox. It's much easier for them to go backwards compatible with that than it is with PlayStation. Primarily because of the PlayStation 3. That just wrenched everything. just everything. Sony thought they were cute and they knew better than everyone what the future of technology was going to be. And they were correct with Blu-ray. Not correct with the way processors went. And they went with that. I don't even forget what they called it. It was supposed to be the most powerful.
Asymmetrical processing.
Yeah, it was dumb. The first 8-core processor in the whole world. I'm like, yeah, it was junk. And no one wanted to develop for it.
The best graphics on PlayStation 3 were kind of bonkers. Like the best PlayStation 3 games almost look like PlayStation 4 games, but there was like 5 of them. You know, it's like,
and they came like towards the end of the generation too. Like Last of Us drops in like the final year right before PlayStation 4 comes. Everyone's like, well, why do we need PlayStation 4? Look at this thing. We haven't seen anything like this at all. And this is on PlayStation 3. What the hell? It's like, yeah, it's there, but nobody wants to use it because it's difficult to develop for compared to everything else. So any multi-platform game is going to be like, yeah, we're not gonna bother to like try to specialize it for the system like that. You know, you're only gonna get it with console exclusives.
Bethesda games famously all ran like trash on the PlayStation 3 because their developers are like, we're great at coding, we're great at solving problems, but you're basically asking me to put a square peg in a round hole. I just can't do it.
Yeah, they're basically there was something like, if we want our games to actually look better on the more powerful hardware, we basically need to rebuild the game from the ground up, and we're not doing that. Like, we're not doing, like, it works fine on PC, works fine on 360. Why the hell do we have to rebuild it for your platform? Not doing it. And that's one reason why, like, Switch owners out here, like, we have been getting kind of more ports this time around. Not just because it's, decent hardware. It's because it's actually a form of PC architecture, which makes porting to it much simpler compared to using whatever the hell they were using on Wii and Wii U, where it was a completely different architecture and games had to be built from the ground up, and that's why we got crappy versions of games when we did get them. Although, I got to give Activision credit back in the Wii days. They did a pretty good job of Call of Duty on Wii.
Yep, I heard it was 60 FPS. I never played it, but
60 FPS, and any like hardcore Call of Duty player that tried it out instantly knew Wiimote controls in Call of Duty were so far beyond traditional controllers. It was almost as good as mouse and keyboard, almost as good. And we found that out on Wii U when they brought over what was it, Black Ops 2 or whatever. When that was like, they brought that on Wii U, they had all the players together using the gamepad and they had Wiimote controls, and it was so bad during launch that they actually had to separate out the Wiimote players from the gamepad players because everyone was complaining that this isn't fair. It's like I'm playing against PC players. And I'm like, no, it's just people playing with the Wiimote. Like, it's just so much more accurate than twin sticks, which it makes sense. It's a motion control pointer. Of course, it's more accurate.
You're clicking on their head.
Yeah,
you're
just literally
like,
pointing
die,
at them and clicking
die.
on them. Yeah, it's so much more accurate than twin sticks. But
I remember playing the Conduit.
The Conduit? Yeah.
Yeah, on the Wii. It was a good game.
Yep.
But I sucked with the motion controls. The shooting.
Oh, man. Every time someone mentions the Conduit, it just makes me think of Time Splitters and how badly I want that series to come back.
Just remaster it.
Oh, that was the bomb back in the day. All right. So, yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards PS5 in terms of my excitement, just because I know what I haven't experienced and what I want to play. Like Horizon Forbidden West coming. I really want to beat Horizon Zero Dawn. I've only ever played it on someone else's PlayStation 4. I've never dove into it deep. Really want to experience that. Third-party game-wise, I've experienced everything that I want to experience third-party game-wise. I have a PC. I had an Xbox One X. So I'm more excited for the exclusives that I've missed out on. I mean, even like this year, Ghost of Tsushima just looks so good. I've watched so many reviews of it. I'm like, I just really want to play it myself. The thing is, my problem's always going to be, when am I going to find time to play all the old gen and the new gen games and Switch? And time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a parent of 3, a full-time college student, and a YouTuber. Where's my time?
That's why I'm glad that nobody loves me. I just make videos all day, so it's great. I can just sit around and play video games, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, right. I miss the days when I could just I'm just gonna game for like the next 5 hours, and nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to bother me. No one's gonna call. It's like I don't even exist. It's kind of nice. Those are the days when I used to play World of Warcraft a lot. When it's like I didn't even matter to the rest of the world. Now, I mean, I get to game more because of my Switch, because I could literally do it anywhere. Like, if I go to the bathroom conveniently, my 1 minute pee turns into a 15-minute. Oh, I guess I had to go number 2, maybe. Really, I was just gaming, but getting my extra game time and finding excuses to game. Plus, like, if I'm playing Nintendo games, I can play that around my kids, so it's usually not that big a deal. But, yeah. It's finding that balance is a lot more difficult than when I used to be able to game all the time, but I'll find a way, man. Like, if there's a game I really want to play, I'll make it happen, even if I'm gaming till 3 a.m. and have to wake up with the kids at 6.
Now that you said that, that means we're gonna get a first party game from Nintendo. That's M for mature. Since you said you play with your kids,
I was just thinking, if I'm gaming till 3 a.m., I don't know if I can pull it off in my 30s anymore now, but I feel like I could just go an all-nighter there until they wake up. Old school.
Yeah, I can't do it.
Where you all night it and then you just go throughout your next day. I don't know if I can pull that off anymore.
I'm too old for that. I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I know. I'm 34, and see, when I was in my 20s, I used to do it all the time, but I don't know if I can do it now.
Yeah,
as long as we go back and find your parents' pizza oven, and we go and eat the crap out of burnt pizza, I think we can do it.
Well, why? Because the burnt pizza was our key to.
Yes, it was.
Key to staying away.
Yes, it was.
True.
That bad taste. You can't go to sleep with that bad taste in your mouth.
It's like, oh yeah, crap, we forgot about the pizza. Oh well.
Yeah, hour of gaming later, forgot about the pizza, and then go get it. It's like a hockey puck. We're gonna eat it anyways. Whatever.
Yeah, right.
Don't waste it. Nobody cares. No one has to see what we're doing right now. I might be embarrassed in front of my girlfriend. She ain't seeing what's entering my body right now. She don't need to know. Oh man. Yeah, those were the days. But I'll figure it out. I found my way navigating playing some Xbox PC and Switch games, over the years. I think, and I try to remind myself, I'm done with college in 2022, so it's not that too far into the next gen. Not that far in that my plate will clean up and I'll have some more time. And you know what? If this YouTube thing keeps taking off, because I guess my channel's been doing well, I might not even need the degree, which that's just the way college goes. By the time you graduate, people don't need their degrees. It just is what it is.
Mansion soon.
So then, when my kids are in school for 9 months a year, look at all that time I have to game. That'll be great. Then I might start doing game reviews, guys. If you ever wonder why I don't do game reviews, it's because I can't guarantee I can dedicate enough time to do a review. But I tell you what, when Breath of the Wild 2 lands, I'll probably have that beat in 2 days. I probably won't sleep for that one. I can't help it. That's like the one series that's like, look, if that game comes out, I will not, and it's got nothing to do. I'm not doing content for the channel. I might not even be live streaming, folks. I just won't stop playing. I'll get yelled at. I'm sure I'll get kicked out of the house at one point for ignoring my fiance. It's you know what? I'll make it all good. Just give me another day. I just need one more day and I'll be done. I got to binge.
Yeah, I've been there for sure, man.
Oh man. All right, I guess that's going to do it for episode 127. You guys like Dreamcast guy, you got anything you want to shout out, like, where people can find you at, and maybe tease us some upcoming content or something?
Yeah, youtube.com/Dreamcast guy. Getting close to 200,000 subscribers. Very happy about that. Thursday, I am dropping a big review about Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. And then Friday, I'm going to be doing a video about that new multiplayer-only Star Wars Squadrons, because I like dogfighting games and I'm kind of curious about it. It's going to be $40. Anytime I see a game that's AAA but purposely not $60. It always interests me. So I'm going to check both those out.
Yeah, I'm very curious about that game myself, actually. That's on my radar because I was a big Rogue Squadron fan back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Sonic Man, where can they find you at? I know you got a YouTube channel too.
So YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Sonic Man the Best. Same name, all 3 places.
Eric, can they find you anywhere that you will see them?
Yeah, probably not. But I am on Twitter, so just my name, Eric Moore. No, actually, no, it's
No,
at
it's not.
Emo8790.
They'll be like, no,
Right,
it's
right.
not. No, it's not.
Yeah, well, you know what? Who cares?
That's like saying, yeah,
That's
you
my
can find
display
me-
name.
You can find me on Twitter at Nintendo Prime. Oh, wait, no, you can't. It's at Ninty Prime on Twitter. As for the podcast, if you guys are watching the video version live, audio version after, be sure that there's pretty much you can find this podcast everywhere. Anchor.fm, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. I think it's on Spotify now. It's
And
on.
Etch-a-Sketch.
It's like on 25 different platforms because the place that I put it at puts it everywhere for me, so I don't have to do the legwork. So, you guys, if you watch a video version and you prefer audio, it's cool. I have you guys covered for that. If you want to catch it live, right now I'm actually debating on switching it to Mondays at 8 because this is actually working out very well for me. This is the first time I've done it on a Monday, so I'm liking this. My fiance's not mad at me. My children are sleeping. Everything is good, and it's not heading into a weekend where I might, it kind of sucks not being able to do things on Friday nights because I have a podcast. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, for now, guys, my plan is for this to happen 1 week from today, Mondays, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you guys want to catch it live, and no, I don't read the live chat during the podcast because if I did, this podcast would be 5 hours long. And I don't need that. So I apologize if you guys are up in the live chat trying to get my attention. I pretty much do not pay attention. And hey, someone just congratulated me. Apparently I passed a major milestone. I now have more subscribers than Philip Mewson.
Ooh, nice.
Yes. What other crappy YouTuber am I about to pass next? All right, folks. If you're already watching the Nintendo Prime podcast, I'm sure you already know where to find me, so peace out.